Have you ever sat down on a simple plastic chair and noticed those strange holes, tiny patterns carved into the seat or backrest, and wondered why they're even there? They seem too intentional to be random, yet too ordinary to question. After all, these chairs are everywhere, at family gatherings, school events, street-side eateries, and even in your own home. But hidden in that simple design is a surprisingly clever mix of science, practicality, and cost-saving engineering. And today we will uncover the surprisingly smart reasons behind those tiny holes you've probably ignored your whole life, right here on History of Simple Things. At first glance, plastic chairs might feel like the most basic pieces of furniture imaginable. They're lightweight, stackable, affordable, and easy to clean. But their design didn't just happen by accident. Every curve, every groove, and yes, every hole serves a purpose. In fact, removing those holes entirely would make the chair less comfortable, less durable, and even more expensive to produce. One of the biggest reasons plastic chairs have holes is ventilation. Imagine sitting on a completely solid plastic surface on a hot day. Your body naturally gives off heat, and without any airflow, that heat gets trapped between you and the chair. Within minutes, it becomes uncomfortable, sticky, sweaty, and unpleasant. Those holes act like tiny air channels, allowing heat to escape and fresh air to circulate. It's a simple solution that makes a huge difference, especially in warm climates where plastic chairs are commonly used outdoors. But ventilation is just the beginning. Another important function of these holes is water drainage. Plastic chairs are often used outside, in gardens, patios, sidewalks, and public spaces where they're exposed to rain. If the surface were completely flat and solid, water would pool on the seat. Sitting down would mean getting soaked instantly. The holes allow rainwater to pass through quickly, keeping the chair usable even after a downpour. It's one of those features you don't notice until it's missing. There's also a structural advantage that most people overlook. It might sound counterintuitive, but removing small portions of material can actually make a design more efficient. Engineers carefully place these holes to reduce stress concentrations across the surface. Instead of having one large, uninterrupted area that could warp or crack under pressure, the pattern helps distribute weight more evenly. This reduces the risk of the chair bending or breaking over time, especially when used repeatedly. At the same time, these holes significantly reduce the amount of plastic needed to manufacture each chair. That might not seem like much at first, but when you consider that millions of plastic chairs are produced every year, the savings become enormous. Less material means lower production costs, lighter weight, and even a smaller environmental footprint. Manufacturers can produce chairs faster and cheaper, while consumers benefit from lower prices. Weight reduction is another subtle but important factor. A completely solid plastic chair would be heavier and harder to move around. By incorporating holes, the overall mass is reduced without sacrificing strength. This is why plastic chairs are so easy to carry, stack, and rearrange, perfect for events where seating needs to be flexible and portable. Speaking of stacking, the design of plastic chairs, including those holes, also plays a role in how well they can be stored. Many plastic chairs are designed to nest into each other when stacked. The holes can help prevent air from getting trapped between chairs, which would otherwise create suction and make them difficult to separate. It's a small detail, but one that improves usability in a big way, especially in places where chairs are frequently stacked and unstacked. There's also an aesthetic element involved. While functionality comes first, manufacturers know that appearance matters. The holes are often arranged in patterns, circles, slats, grids, or even decorative shapes that make the chair look more appealing. A completely solid plastic chair might look bulky or plain, but adding patterns gives it a lighter, more modern feel. It's a blend of design and engineering that turns something ordinary into something visually acceptable for everyday use. Another interesting reason behind the holes has to do with the manufacturing process itself, specifically injection molding. This is the method used to create most plastic chairs, where molten plastic is injected into a mold and allowed to cool. If the design were too thick or solid in certain areas, it could lead to uneven cooling, causing defects like warping, shrinkage, or internal stress cracks. By including holes and reducing thickness in strategic places, manufacturers ensure that the plastic cools more evenly, resulting in a stronger and more reliable product. You might not notice it, but those holes also help with flexibility. Plastic chairs aren't meant to be completely rigid. A slight amount of flex allows them to absorb weight and movement without snapping. The patterns created by the holes allow the material to bend just enough under pressure, then return to its original shape. Without that flexibility, the chair would be more brittle and prone to breaking. So the next time you sit on a plastic chair, whether it's at a party, a classroom, or a street-side stall, take a moment to look a little closer. Those holes aren't random. They're a quiet reminder that even the simplest objects around us are carefully designed, shaped by science, and refined over time to make our lives just a little bit more comfortable. Because in the world of everyday things, even a tiny hole can tell a surprisingly big story. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.